She left with a backpack, a journal, and a dream of solitude. That was the last time anyone saw Emily Grayson alive. 10 months later, a ranger finds a human hair bundle in an eagle's nest stand, a folded note with her initials, no body, no blood. Just whispers in the trees. And one man who seems to know too much. He was charming, soft-spoken, always the spiritual type. He didn't hurt women, not physically. He convinced them to disappear. Emily wasn't the first. She might not be the last dot in this true crime mystery that rattled the Tetons and broke the internet. We unravel a haunting tale of manipulation, obsession, and the terrifying power of belief. Was it a tragic accident, a cult, or a perfect crime? With no fingerprints, you're about to find out piece by piece, page by page, what really happened. When Emily walked into the woods, and never walked out, the sun hadn't risen all the way yet. But the sky was beginning to glow with the warm hues of early September. Emily Grayson stood at the edge of the gravel lot, tightening the strap-on. Her backpack, the Teton Range, stretched before her, stoic, vast, and silent. She closed her eyes and breathed in the chilled morning air, savoring the clean bite of pine and damp earth. Behind her, Josh leaned against the car, arms crossed, eyes unreadable. "You sure about going solo?" he asked, not for the first time. Emily didn't answer right away. She just looked at the mountains and smiled faintly. That inward kind of smile that made you feel like she was already gone. "I need this," she finally said, shouldering her pack. "No phone, no people, just me and this place." Josh's jaw twitched, the way it always did when he was trying not to argue. "You've been off lately," he muttered. "That's all I'm saying." She turned to face him, her ponytail catching the light. "Off how? I don't know." Distant. "Writing in that damn journal all night. Waking up in the middle of the night. Whispering things to yourself." "I wasn't whispering to myself, Josh." He waited. She didn't explain. "I just think, maybe this trip isn't the right call." "Not right now." Emily walked up to him and pressed a quick, soft kiss to his cheek. "You're worried, I get it, but this is something I need to do." Josh hesitated, then nodded, but there was no warmth in the motion. "Fine, just don't go proving something and wind up on a milk carton." She laughed once too loud for the quiet morning and walked away. Emily had planned the hike meticulously. For days along the Paintbrush Canyon Loop. Solo camping, journaling, then back before the weekend. She'd bought new boots, marked her route, left backup copies of her map with Josh and her roommate. But as her boots hit the earth, kicking up the dust of the trail, there was a restlessness in her stride, a kind of urgency, like she was chasing something instead of escaping it. She'd been dreaming about the Tetons for months. Not just daydreams, but actual dreams, lucid, strange ones, where the peaks moved, folded, whispered, where someone waited at the top, always out of reach by evening. Emily had cleared 6 miles of switchbacks and reached her first planned campsite near Lee Lake. She pitched her tent with methodical efficiency, boiled water, ate a granola bar. In silence, her phone was off, her journal open. She wrote, "Day 1, the quiet feels heavy. Like it knows something I don't. I keep thinking I hear footsteps behind me, but every time I look, it's just wind in the trees. Or maybe I just want to believe it's the wind. I don't know." Then she scratched it out. Instead, she wrote, "It's peaceful. I'm finally breathing." Back in town, Josh sat alone in their small apartment, scrolling through Emily's Instagram. The photos she'd posted before leaving were typical cynic, smiley, curated. But her captions had changed lately. One from last week read, "Sometimes you don't know you're in a cage until the lock rusts away." He clicked it again, stared. Clicked it again. By the end of day 2, Emily was deeper into the wilderness. The terrain had steepened, and the trees had thinned. That night, she camped on a ridge with a view of the valley really silent. Under a moon, too full and too bright, she sat outside her tent, writing by headlamp. "I woke up last night, convinced. Someone had unzipped the tent. It was still closed. No sign of animals. but the air inside was colder than it should have been. Like someone had been there and left something behind. She drew a line underneath that sentence and didn't write anything more that night. When she didn't return by day 5, Josh waited thinking she might have lost track of time. By day 6, he texted. No response. Day 7, he drove to the ranger station. She said, for days. Josh explained to the uniformed woman at the desk. She was supposed to be back Sunday. She's done this before. Not this trail, but others. The ranger took notes, her expression still. Was she upset? Acting differently before the trip? Josh hesitated. Not upset. Just distant. Obsessed with this idea of silence, kept saying she wanted to vanish for a while. Not forever, just to see what it felt like. The search began quietly. A helicopter buzzed overhead by morning. Volunteers, dogs, boots on the ground. But weather had turned snow-dusted the higher peaks. Rivers had swollen. No sign, no gear, no body, only her car at the trailhead, parked like she'd return any minute. By day 9, the news had picked it up. Promising young hiker vanishes in Tetons. One headline read, Josh gave his first interview. That night, I don't know where she is, he said, his voice cracking just right. I just want her to come home. But as the camera panned away, a few online viewers caught something strange. The tiniest smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Emily's car sat at the trailhead, just as she'd left it clean, locked. No sign of struggle. Her folded map was still tucked into the glove box, marked with her planned route. On the passenger seat sat a half-empty bottle of water and a parking permit that expired 4 days ago. Ranger Dana Webb stood outside the dusty Subaru, clipboard in hand, as clouds rolled in over the peaks behind her. She should have been back by now, Josh said, pacing. She always texted after trips, even short ones. It's been days, something's wrong. Dana watched him carefully. You said, she left 5 days ago. Yeah, Friday morning, that's 6. Josh stopped walking. Within hours, the search was formalized. Rangers mobilized. Volunteers arrived with backpacks and energy bars. Dogs barked and tugged at leashes. Helicopters scanned ridgelines and ravines. But as afternoon wore into evening, the weather shifted. Rain, then sleet, then snowfall in higher elevations, early heavy, and unwelcome. She wouldn't have planned for this kind of storm. Dana said to her partner Miguel as they studied the incoming satellite data. This wasn't in the forecast. Miguel, who had worked these mountains for 20 years, didn't answer right away. He knew these kinds of storms. They didn't care about forecasts. They just came. That night, Josh posted the first video. Sat on the couch in Emily's apartment, a framed photo of her on the table behind him. He looked tired, eyes red, voice strained. She's everything to me, he said to the camera. Please, if you've seen her, if you know anything, call the number, share this. Help me bring her home. The video was raw, unedited. The kind that goes viral fast, but comments started rolling in. Why does he look like he's faking tears? Rewatch, 035, that smile, WTF. His eyes don't match his tone, cold AF. Josh didn't respond. He shared the video 3 more times over the next 2 days, each one more dramatic than the last. Meanwhile, Dana and Miguel led a team along the ridge, where Emily had planned to camp her second night. They found a flattened patch of earth, and the remnants of a fire ring old embers, bits of charred foil from a food packet. No tent, no gear. Dana knelt, brushing her glove across the dirt. She camped here, Miguel nodded. Maybe not alone. On day 3 of the search, someone from Emily's hometown started a subreddit, r/findingemily.theories exploded. Theory number 1. She faked her own disappearance. Theory #2. She was stalked. Theory number 3. Josh is involved. A user posted side-by-side screenshots of his video stills. Notice how his breathing pattern changes after he says everything to me. That's classic deception body language. Another zoomed in on the framed photo in the background. That pic isn't in any of her posts. Why does he have one no one's ever seen? A third made a compilation of his video smirks and uploaded it with the caption, "The grieving boyfriend who keeps forgetting. He's supposed to be sad." By the end of day 4, the search grid expanded. Still no sign of Emily. Still no sign of anything except the wind, and always. The wind, it howled over the ridges like it was trying to tell a story no one could quite hear. Josh agreed to appear. On a local morning news segment, he wore a grey hoodie and spoke softly, carefully, hands clasped like a man in mourning. "She told me she needed space," he said. "Not from me, just from life. She wanted to unplug, get away from the noise." The anchor nodded sympathetically. "And how did that make you feel?" Josh glanced down, scared but proud of her too. She was. "She is so strong." The clip went viral, but once again, people weren't buying it. He blinked 0 times in 32 seconds. "I swear he's reading a script. If my girl was missing, I wouldn't be combing my hair that perfectly, just saying." In Emily's apartment, her roommate Tasha finally spoke out. She'd stayed silent at first, afraid of attention. But something in the interviews rubbed her wrong. She didn't seem excited before the trip, Tasha told a podcast. She seemed afraid, like she had to prove something. And Josh, he never liked her going anywhere alone. Did they fight before she left? The host asked. Tasha hesitated. "I wouldn't call it a fight, he got quiet." "That's worse with him." Miguel sat at his kitchen table, studying Emily's route. He wasn't sleeping much. He kept returning to the word alone. So many missing girls started with that same word. He pulled out an old case file from 6 years back. Same trail, different girl. Same vanishing act, no body. No answers. His gut twisted. Back online. Someone found an old tweet from Emily. "You ever get the feeling someone's watching you, and it's not the trees?" It was posted at 3:14 a.m., just 6 days before she vanished. The post exploded. Chills. Who was she talking about, Josh? I'm calling it now. By the end of day 5, the storm cleared, but it had washed away any remaining tracks. Rivers were swollen. Animal prints covered the paths. Everything was noise now. Everything was confusion. But still no body. Still no goodbye. Just one girl and one man, whose grief never quite rang true. In a private message on Reddit, someone claimed to have seen Josh at a party 2 days after Emily vanished. "I didn't even know she was missing," they wrote. "He was laughing, drinking. Said she was probably just doing her hippie soul-searching thing. Then he said, she always comes back when she gets hungry." On the morning of day 6, Dana returned to the trailhead. Emily's car was still there, unmoved, clean, unnaturally clean. She opened the glove box again. This time, she noticed something wedged beneath the map, a small, hand-drawn sketch of a cliff and a pair of eyes watching from above. The boot was wedged deep between 2 boulders, halfway down a steep drainage gulch. Black laces, mud-caked leather, torn at the heel like it had been yanked off mid-stride. Brand. Merrill, size. Women's 7.5. Dana stared at it from above the ravine. "No blood," she murmured. "No sign of a fall." Miguel climbed down, boots crunching the gravel. He used a stick to prod the crevice, gently fishing it out. "Empty," he said. "No foot inside." The team exhaled in unison, relief mixed with confusion. Just one boot. No gear, no bag, no Emily. Later that afternoon, they spread out along the ridge. A drone buzzed overhead, scanning the slope where the boot had been found. Every few feet, a flag marked a possible clue: a torn pine branch, a cluster of animal scat, a damp scrap of paper that turned out to be nothing but mold. But the real signal came electronically. At 4:16 p.m., a technician flagged something strange. "Ping from Emily's phone," he said. "Just once." "Where?" Dana asked. He pointed to the digital topographic map. It blinked near a sheer cliff. Elevation 10,200 feet. Unreachable without ropes. "No way she climbed that in a storm," Miguel said. Dana didn't answer. She just stared at the blinking dot as it vanished from the screen. The subreddit finding Emily exploded with the news. Single boot equals bad sign. Always is. That phone ping makes no sense. Someone's playing games. Either she's alive and hiding, or someone wants us to think she is. Screenshots of Josh's reaction to the boot discovery surfaced quickly in one photo. He stood near the ravine, hand over his mouth. In the next, 20 minutes later, he was smiling with a reporter from a local news outlet. "Is it just me?" one commenter asked, "or does he look more comfortable on camera than off?" By day 7, the search effort changed. No longer a rescue, now a recovery. News outlets ran headlines like, "Signs point to grim outcome in Grayson disappearance, hiker likely dead." Searchers say Josh Miller, "I still believe she's out there." Josh, meanwhile, doubled down. He posted 3 new videos in 24 hours, each one more polished. Different shirt, same lighting. Subtle piano music in the background. "Emily would want us to stay strong," he said. "She believed in nature, in mystery, in transformation. I believe she's out there, just waiting for the noise to fade." Some people bought it, others didn't, especially after the sponsored post. He'd linked to a GoFundMe for a private investigator fund. The banner showed him holding Emily's hiking journal. The goal, $40,000. "I want to bring her home," the post read. But internet sleuths did what they do best. His Venmo history shows he bought a MacBook and ring light 2 days ago. Private investigator, in Wyoming. That costs like $5,000, tops. He's gaming this. Watch his subs on TikTok, they doubled in a week. By day 10, Josh had 38,000 followers. He posted a reel of himself lighting a candle next to Emily's boot. Caption, "For those we miss, for those we still hope for." Views, 2.6 million. Likes, for 12K. Comments. Brutal, "You're not mourning, you're marketing. Where's the second boot? Is this grief or brand management?" That night, Tasha, the roommate, broke her silence again. She went on a live stream with a YouTuber known for covering missing person cases. Josh liked the idea of Emily, she said bluntly, but he didn't like her freedom, or the fact that she didn't need him. The host blinked. "Can you be more specific?" Tasha leaned forward. He once told her she'd be so much easier to love if she stopped disappearing into mountains all the time. Meanwhile, in the ranger station, Miguel stared at the topographic map on the wall. "There's a trail here," he said, tracing a red line along the east face of the cliff. Dana glanced over. Unofficial, washed out. No way she took that, but someone could have dragged her gear up, pinned her phone there to throw us off. Dana looked at him. "You think someone's staging a survival trail?" Miguel didn't blink. "I think this whole thing smells like a performance." Another ping came the next day, this time from a phone tower 60 miles away, nowhere near the park. "Same device ID, impossible," said the tech. "Either someone's cloned her phone, or she's not where we think she is." Josh released a new video, voice thick with emotion. "Please stop harassing me," he said. "I lost the woman I love. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to stay strong." At the end, he lit a stick of sage and whispered, "Come home, Emily." But it was the wrong line. 3 seconds later, viewers heard a faint voice behind the camera whisper, "Do the crying part again." Screenshots of the audio analysis spread like wildfire, TikToks, breakdowns, slow-motion edits. The phrase trended #CryAgainJosh, and then came the drone footage. Someone on Reddit leaked a blurry frame captured from a drone during the searcher. Dark figure halfway up the rock face near the phone ping site. The shape looked human, but it didn't move. Theory spiraled. Was it Emily, or just a shadow, or something else entirely? At 4:43 a.m., a new post appeared in Finding Millie, title, 3 boots, 2 feet. That's what doesn't add up. If one boot is found, where's the other? If someone staged this, they'd need both. So either Emily's still walking barefoot, someone else has her shoes. The thread exploded. And deep in the mountains, far from headlines, the wind screamed against the cliffs like it had something urgent to say. But no one was listening. Not yet. Danielle Griffin hadn't spoken to Josh Miller in over 2 years. She'd blocked his number, deleted their photos, burned the journal he gave her during their first road trip for reflection. He'd called it, but she'd never stopped watching him, quietly from afar. So when his name popped up in her feed, beneath the headline, "Girlfriend Vanishes in Wyoming Wilderness," her breath caught in her throat. Not again. She didn't reach out. Not at first. She watched the videos like everyone else. Listened to the trembling voice. The two steady eyes. The subtle martyrdom, and slowly the weight of silence became unbearable. So when two investigators knocked on her apartment door in Missoula, Montana, she opened it without hesitation. "You were in a relationship with Josh Miller?" Dana asked. Flipping open a small notepad, Danielle nodded, arms crossed over her chest. 2 years, off and on, mostly off, if I'm being honest. What ended it? Danielle smirked, dry and bitter. The wilderness. Miguel raised an eyebrow. Explain. It began the same way, she said. Charming, thoughtful. Books left on her porch. Poetry texts at 2 a.m., shared playlists with names like For Your Soul, Not Your Skin. He wasn't like other guys. Or at least, he said so that he didn't want to control her, he wanted to free her. That was his thing. Every girl he dates, Danielle said, he convinces her she's been caged by the world. That she's forgotten herself. And then he sends her into the woods. Literally, Dana asked. Danielle nodded. He booked me a solo retreat in Idaho. For days, no signal. Said it would change everything. Miguel took notes quietly. Eyes unreadable. Did anything happen on that trip? He asked. Danielle's voice dropped. I don't know, that's the problem. I remember the first 2 days. Then it's hazy. I kept a journal. But when I got back, some pages were gone. Gone. How ripped out. Like I'd done it, but I don't remember doing it. Did you ever feel unsafe? Danielle looked at the floor. Not exactly, not physically, but emotionally. Yeah, like I wasn't writing my own story anymore, like he was. Back in the ranger station, Dana reviewed Danielle's old messages. With Josh, forwarded under the subject line, in case it helps someone else. One thread stood out. Josh had written, "You keep looking for love, in the noise, Donnie, it's not there, it's never been there. Go where the silence lives. And when you come back, you'll understand me better." Another. Let go of the need to be found. Disappear. That's the only way you'll ever really see yourself. Meanwhile, online suspicion toward Josh swelled into a storm. A podcast titled The Hike Into Her aired a 2-part episode called The Boyfriend Clause. It laid out Danielle's story and mentioned another girl, Sierra, also dated Josh. Also went off-grid. Never came back to him. Pattern, the host whispered. Not proof, but patterns matter when people disappear. Miguel paced the hallway. With a printout of Josh's dating history, at least 3 confirmed long-term partners. 2 had posted publicly about transformational solo trips. 1 had a deleted Instagram account with the handle @Chevanish. Donson of them had accused him of abuse. Not directly, but all had one thing in common. They left the relationship sounding less like themselves. Danielle agreed to meet again. This time, she brought something. A battered sketchbook with a pressed flower inside. Josh gave it to me before my solo trip, she said. On the inside cover, in Josh's handwriting, Day 1, let go. Day 2, forget who you were. Day 3, listen to what the trees say. Day 4, come back new. Or don't come back at all. She pointed to a page near the end. Torn, I wrote something that scared me. I think I remembered too much. And then, I didn't. Miguel asked, gently. Do you think he drugged you? Danielle flinched. I don't know. I don't want to believe that. But the girl I was before that trip, she didn't come back. And I think that's exactly what he wanted. Online, users began creating timelines of Josh's exes. Each one mapped against solo trips, each one filled with poetic goodbyes, unposted photos, reclusive silence after it wasn't violence. It was influence. A slow, honeyed erosion of self until all that remained was what Josh had shaped. Josh responded with a new video, black and white, shot in a forest, monologue style, full beard, tight smile. "I've only ever wanted people to find their truth," he said. "I've never forced anyone to go anywhere. I encouraged Emily to follow her instincts. To hear the wild, that's all." At the end, he whispered, "You can't kidnap someone into freedom." The comments lit up, double quotes. "Yeah, but you can manipulate them there." How many girls gotta go missing before we stop calling it poetic? The girlfriend clause isn't romantic, it's dangerous. Miguel stared at the forest in the video. The trees behind Josh. He recognized them. Not generic woods, Tetons, Eastern Range, and behind him a small stone cairn, marked, not natural. "Pull every shot of that video," he told Dana. "We need location data." "Now what are you thinking?" He didn't answer, just whispered the words again. "Come back new or don't come back at all." Miguel Torres had worked these mountains long enough to know when something didn't belong, and this feeling had come before it. Was in the wind that refused to die down, in the animals that had gone quiet, in the way the silence clung to certain parts of the trail like it was hiding something under its breath. He stood staring at the paused frame from Josh's video, finger tracing the trees behind him. The stone cairn in the background was subtle, too neat, too deliberate. "Old trail marker," he murmured. "One that shouldn't exist." Dana looked over his shoulder. "You sure?" Miguel nodded. "That's Devil's Shelf, Southeast Ridge. Barely used anymore." What was he doing there? Miguel's jaw tightened. Same thing he's always doing, performing. Later that evening, Miguel pulled a locked metal file box from the bottom drawer of his desk. The key was old, slightly bent, but still fit. Inside, a single worn manila folder, labeled in fading ink, V. Kendrick, -2016, UNSO LVD. He hesitated before opening it. He hadn't touched the file in over 5 years, was told to let it go, but he couldn't. Never had. Her name was Valerie Kendrick, 24 years old. Artist, traveler. Stayed a summer in Jackson Hole, working at a pottery code-op on her off days. She hiked. One morning she told friends she was heading into the Tetons, solo, just a sketching retreat, she called it, said she needed stillness. She never came back. Her car was found parked at the Lupin Meadows trailhead. Bootprints led into Cascade Canyon. And then nothing. No gear. No phone. No body. Just a blue bandana knotted around a low branch. Her friends confirmed it was hers. Miguel never forgot it. He'd led the search team personally back then. Scoured every trail for 9 days straight. At one point, found a scrap of torn canvas wedged under a rock ledge. Possibly part of her backpack, possibly not. The park report had been cautious, presumed dead, likely accidental fall or animal encounter. Miguel had signed it, but he never believed it. He remembered standing on a ledge overlooking Jenny Lake that last day, radio in hand, whispering into the wind, "If you're still out there, I'm sorry." Now, 6 years later, Emily Grayson's case unfolded like Dacia, Vonley, louder, more public, surrounded by viral speculation instead of quiet sorrow. But the details, too close. Another solo female hiker, another vague need for escape, another man with poetic influence in her life. Miguel dug deeper. Valerie's social media accounts had been long deactivated, but cached archives told their own story. One thread chilled him. A selfie she'd posted 3 weeks before her disappearance. Caption, "He says I need to vanish before I can be seen." He zoomed into the photos, reflection a blurry man just behind her, holding her phone. The resemblance to Josh was unsettling. No confirmation, no names, just possibility. But Miguel's gut screamed louder than the facts. The next morning, he hiked out alone toward Devil's Shelf. The trail was narrow, washed out in places. Only remnants of the original route remained, faint grooves in the rock, old cans swallowed by time. But Miguel knew the path like a scar. He'd patrolled this area once, years ago. Then the park rerouted foot traffic, claiming erosion. He reached the shelf by midday. The stone outcrop jutted into the sky, offering a view of the valley below. Wind howled mercilessly along the edge. And there, just as in Josh's video, was the stone can, neatly stacked to neat. At the base, a weathered photo, half-buried. Miguel knelt, pulled it out. It was a Polaroid, faded, water-damaged. But the shape of a woman was still visible, smiling, alone, hand shading her eyes. Not Emily Valerie, back in the station. Miguel scanned the photo and matched it to Valerie's DMV portrait. Same nose, same uneven smile. I knew it, he whispered. Dana looked at him, unnerved. What does this mean? Miguel exhaled slowly. Josh's games didn't start with Emily. They go back further. Maybe much further. He started reviewing missing persons in the park archives. From 2014 to present, 3 solo female hikers still unsolved. All within 30 miles of the same ridge. All in late summer. No connection on paper. No evidence of foul play. But patterns have their own language. You just have to listen. That night, Miguel received an email. Subject line: I remember something. No sender. No signature. Inside, a single sentence. There were 2 people on the trail. That day, she wasn't alone. Attached was a blurry image. Timestamp: September 5th, 22:03. Location: Cascade Canyon, overlook. Emily, recognizable by her red windbreaker, walked ahead behind her. In the shadows, another figure followed. Tall. Male. Josh. Unclear, but his posture, hands behind his back, face turned, looked disturbingly familiar. Miguel sat back, heart racing. Was Josh out there with her all along? Had he followed her? Or worse, had she never hiked alone at all? He rose, stepped outside, and lit a cigarette he hadn't touched in years. The sky was moonless. The wind was back whipping down from Devil's Shelf. Whispering through the trees, it sounded almost like a voice. And this time, Miguel listened. The notebook was thin, bound, and smelled faintly of lavender and cedar. Emily's mother handed it to Ranger Dana with trembling hands. Her voice barely above a whisper. I found it in her apartment, she said. Top drawer, hidden under her sweaters. Dana nodded, taking it gently. Did you read it? No. Her mother said, eyes red. I couldn't bring myself to. Back at the station, Dana and Miguel sat at the desk under the map of the Tetons. Miguel turned off the overhead light, leaving only the desk lamp glowing like a campfire. Between them, Dana opened the notebook. Page 1 was blank. Page 2 started like this. Dear Josh, I'm not writing this for you to read. I'm writing because I don't trust myself to say these things aloud. I keep thinking about the first time we hiked Paintbrush Canyon, how you said silence was the only thing that told the truth. I believed you. I don't anymore. Dana flipped the page. Her hands moved slower now. Josh, I think someone's been in my apartment. My window was cracked open yesterday, but I never leave it open. My hiking boots were damp when I hadn't worn them in 2 days, and the lamp on my nightstand had been moved 2 inches to the left. I measured. It sounds crazy, I know it does, but I can't shake the feeling someone's watching me. Not all the time, just enough. Miguel leaned forward. Paranoia, or something real, Dana said, something she didn't feel safe saying out loud. More entries followed. The handwriting changed, subtly growing sharper, more frantic. Josh, you always talked about finding peace in the wild, about how nature doesn't lie, but I started noticing things 3 trips ago. My tent zipper was cut, not torn. Not worn - cut. Last week, my trail mix had almonds in it. I'm allergic, Josh. I don't buy trail mix with almonds, and I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Miguel said nothing. He knew that look in Dana's eyes. Though, we've seen this before. Look. Dana turned another page. This one had a tear stain. The ink had bled, but the words were still legible. Josh, if anything happens to me, don't let them say it was an accident. Don't let them say I wanted to disappear. I don't want to disappear, but I do want to understand you. That's why I'm doing this hike. Alone, I think you want me to see something out there, something horrible, or beautiful, I don't know which. Maybe you want to break me open like a See if I sparkle inside, or maybe you just want to be the last voice in my head. Dana closed the notebook halfway and looked at Miguel. This isn't just a journal. It's a breadcrumb trail, she said. Miguel nodded, and she knew she was being followed. The final few pages read like a descent, half confession, half scream. Josh, I saw you. I saw you 2 nights ago, outside my apartment. Hoodie, jeans, standing by the street lamp. You didn't knock. You didn't text. You just watched. I didn't say anything because if I say it out loud, it becomes real. And if it's real, then what we were, what I thought we wasn't just over, it's dangerous. Miguel's voice was low. She saw him. Before the hike, Dana didn't speak. She turned to the last page. Just one line, scrawled across the top. If you find this, and I'm gone, ask him what he meant by no one finds their soul in safety. Outside the station, the wind picked up. It slammed the screen door with a sharp crack. Dana didn't flinch. Miguel stood, crossed to the map, and marked Devil's Shelf with a red pushpin. That's where she was headed, he said. Not just the trail, that spot, because he told her to. Miguel shook his head. Because she wanted to beat him there. To prove he wasn't the only one who could play the game. Later that night, Dana uploaded the letter excerpts to a secure cloud folder labeled Emily_NB_journal_Roshi. Didn't post them publicly, but someone did, the next morning. Screenshots of the letters flooded, finding Emily Terry spiraled out of control. Josh sabotaged her gear. He's been breaking into places, tracking her. Full stalker mode. She literally left a note that said, "Ask him. Why is this guy not in handcuffs yet?" Another user made a timeline connecting Valerie Kendrick and Emily. Same phrasing, same manipulation, both told to disappear, both missing. He's not a boyfriend, he's a pattern. Josh posted a video in response. No background music this time. No filters, just him, red-eyed, staring directly into the lens. I didn't hurt Emily, he said. She was scared of the world, not of me. She told me things no one else knows. She trusted me. But at 3:11 into the video, viewers spotted something. A flash of red dot behind him. Out of focus, in the far corner of the screener. Red WIND Emily single quotes, or one that looked exactly like it. Where was this video filmed? Dana asked that evening. Scrolling through the comments. Miguel was already tracing locations on the map. Doesn't look like his apartment. Trees behind the window, could be a cabin, or a safe house. Dana's voice hardened. We need to find out. Fast. She looked back at the notebook. At Emily's last full entry. It's not the woods that scare me, it's who follows me into them. And somewhere deep in those woods, something still followed. 10 months passed. Seasons cycled through the Tetons like clockworks, no fall to thaw, bloom to dry heat, the mountains never weeping long. Emily's case faded from the news. Reddit threads slowed. Josh moved cities, changed usernames, deleted everything. Time did what it does, best buried things. But nature, unlike people, forgets nothing. A violent windstorm swept across the ridgelines in early summer. High above the Cascade Canyon cliffs, an eagle's nest 5 feet wide. Nearly 200 pounds of bone, moss, and time cracked loose from its perch. It tumbled, struck a ledge, split open like an ancient wound. Below, Ranger Nick Faulkner hiked his usual sunrise route. He spotted the scattered debris halfway down the slope. Talons, twigs, feathers, nothing unusual until something shiny caught the morning light. A glint of plastic. Nick crouched beside the shattered pile, brushing aside brittle branches and bird bones. Among the tangle of squirrel skulls and broken eggshells sat a sealed Ziploc bag. Inside, a knotted clump of hair, reddish-brown, about 6 inches long. A delicate necklace with a chipped turquoise pendant, a folded note, weathered but legible, marked with 2 letters, e.g. By 2 p.m., Dana and Miguel were on site. The scene had been cordoned off, documented, and flown by drone. Nick stood off to the side, visibly shaken. I didn't touch the note, he said. Didn't want to mess up prints. or whatever might still be on it. Miguel slipped on gloves, knelt by the evidence. Dana unfolded the paper slowly. Her eyes scanned it once, then twice. "What does it say?" Miguel asked. Dana's voice was steady, but low. "You never wanted to find me. You wanted to remember. Me away. I broke the pattern, Josh. And that's what you can't forgive. Silence. Not the kind you expect in a national park, but a heavier quiet. One that seems to suck the breath out of the trees." Miguel spoke first. "No date, no signature, but it's her." Dana nodded. "Matches her notebook handwriting, almost perfectly." Miguel frowned. "So, she lived long enough to write this. Or, someone wants us to think she did." The forensic team bagged the items and ran preliminary tests back at the lab. The necklace matched one seen in a 2022 Instagram post from Emily's account, a birthday gift from her younger sister. She never took it off, her mother confirmed. The hair. DNA matched. The note. No prints, no DNA wiped clean. That fact alone was deeply unsettling. News. Broke within 24 hours, breakthrough in Emily Grayson case, rangers discover. Macabre clue in bird's nest, eagle's nest, holds dark secret. The internet came roaring back. Told you he stashed her on that ridge. The note's way too poetic. Sounds like him. That's not a clue. That's a message. From someone who knew she'd never be found. Josh released no statement, no video. Not this time. He was last seen 5 months earlier in Portland Bid, working under an alias at a bookshop, renting a basement suite with no windows. A user from the subreddit swore he'd gone off-grid. Another swore she saw him hiking near the Tetons just last week. The note and necklace became evidence. The bag of hair exhibit C, but what haunted Dana more than the contents was the placement. The nest. She said aloud in the darkened conference room. "It's symbolic." Miguel looked up. "You think it was staged?" "Not at first. But after it fell, it's like the mountain gave up its secret." On her terms, the handwriting analysis confirmed the note was authentic Emily's, but the tone had changed. Not frightened, like in the notebook, not confused, resolute, cold, controlled. She knew something, Dana said. Something final. Miguel stared at the whiteboard, still covered in timelines and thread-pinned photos. "This isn't closure," he said. "This is a warning." That night, Dana dreamed of the wind howling through dead trees, curling around something it didn't want to let go. In the dream, a voice whispered, "You only find what the mountain allows." She woke up sweating, heart racing. Meanwhile, on a lesser-known message board, a new post surfaced from a burner account. "I saw him again. Not Josh. Him, the one with no shadow. He followed her for weeks before the trailhead. I warned her," she thought. "It was Josh. It wasn't. Check the cameras by the Snake River overlook. You'll see the man in the wrong." Reflection. Dana found the message at 2 a.m. She called Miguel before sunrise. "You need to see this." Somewhere in the canyon, high above the cliffs, another eagle circled overhead. Its nest newly built held nothing but bones and thread. But under a nearby rock ledge, just out of sight, something else waited. Not a body, not yet, but something. That would speak soon. The paper was thin as breath, water-stained, browned at the corners, brittle where it had dried, curled within the plastic bag. The handwriting danced between shaky and sharp, familiar enough to confirm, foreign enough to disturb. Miguel stared at the lab. Scan projected on the screen. Dana leaned forward and read the words aloud. He said this would be the only way to be truly seen. No greeting, no signature, no date. Just that sentence. Isolated, inevitable. "Same pen as the longer note," Dana said. "Same ink. Different paper stock. This one's from her hiking journal. The one her parents never found?" Miguel asked. Dana nodded slowly, "Which means there's still pages out there. Still something missing." The note was found tucked under the base of the necklace, almost as if it had been sealed like an offering. A final whisper, buried in feathers and bones. The phrase echoed, like a riddle through the investigation room. "Only way to be truly seen. Dana scrolled through Emily's old posts. hunting for the phrase. Josh had said similar things in the past. They both had Instagram captions, travel blog lines, even old group chat messages. But something about this felt different. Miguel crossed his arms. He didn't write it. She did, but did she mean it? Dana frowned. Or was she repeating it, like a mantra? Like someone told her it enough times, she believed it. The case was reopened officially at 8:42 a.m. The press release was simple, due to new forensic evidence. The Emily Grayson disappearance is now considered an open criminal investigation. Public interest surged again. Podcasts updated feeds. Comment sections exploded. Theories ranged from ritualistic forest cults to a domestic abuse cover-up. But one question held tight in everyone's throat. Did Emily choose to disappear? Or was she convinced it was the only way to matter? Dana pulled up the time-stamped photos from Emily's last known hike, captured from a distance by wildlife cameras. In each, Emily appeared smaller, heavier, not physically emotional. Look at her shoulders, Dana whispered. She's already sinking. In the third image, she stopped near a rocky outcrop and stared straight at the tree line toward nothing. Or someone. Miguel leaned closer. Zoom in on her right hand. Dana. Did she was holding something small, rectangular, dark green. A journal, she had it, Miguel said. She brought the hiking journal. The note came from it, which means she had time to stop, sit right. Dana whispered. She was preparing for something, but was it a descent or an escape? They replayed her last recorded phone call. Emily. Speaking to her sister from the trailhead. Laughter. Birdsong. Then. This, no, I'm good. I feel like I don't know. This one's different. I feel more like me when I'm out here. Like I finally peeled off someone else's skin. Pause. If I don't come back, tell Mum I figured it out. Dana froze, rewound. If I don't come back, not a joke. Not said lightly, but Miguel said it first. That was a goodbye. But again, the questions circled. Was she running from Josh Shaw, becoming what he wanted her to be? Miguel dove into psychological case studies, women manipulated by controlling partners, through language, philosophy, spiritual coercion, cases eerily similar, partners who convinced their victims that disappearing meant freedom. That death wasn't the end, but a reinvention. They call it soft culting, he muttered. Not groups, just one person. Charismatic, convincing, dismantling someone's sense of reality, until even death sounds like a choice. That's when Dana remembered something from the notebook Emily's parents found. She flipped to the last page. There. It was, I don't want to disappear, I want to understand you. Miguel traced the sentence with his finger. She started out resisting. Then, somewhere along the line, she stopped writing to herself. She started writing for him. They reviewed Josh's digital trail again. No phone records, no known residence, no social media presence. He'd been more careful than before, but the credit card his mother co-signed popped up in Nevada. Used once, a hardware store. The receipt listed a GPS device and a waterproof storage container. Exactly the kind of thing someone buys. Dana muttered, if they want to leave clues on their own timeline. They interviewed a survivalist blogger in Utah who once collaborated with Josh. Yeah, he was persuasive, she said. He had this whole theory about narrative disappearances. Said the most powerful people in history all went into the wild and became myth. That you could control your legacy by erasing your present. Miguel said, and you believed him. She smiled coldly. I didn't. But someone like Emily might have. Back in the station, Dana stared again at the note. He said this would be the only way to be truly seen. She wrote it on the whiteboard, circled it 3 times. Then beneath it wrote, Q, seen by whom? That night, a call came from a postal worker in Victor, Idaho. He'd found a small package in the dead letter bin, never delivered. No return address. Postmarked 10 months ago. The name on the front, Josh Miller inside. A photo of Emily, smiling, alive. Standing in front of Devil's Shelf, on the back, Handwritten in thick black ink. I made it. Can you see me now? The message came through Miguel's encrypted inbox at 412a.m. You need to see this. I'm ready. Sender, Danielle Griffin. He sat up in bed, heart already pounding. He hadn't heard from her in over 3 months, not since she'd last told him she wasn't ready to go there yet. Now she was. They met at a diner just outside Bozeman, Montana. Neutral ground. Danielle looked thinner, older. Eyes sunken not from sleep but from something she'd stopped fighting. She slid a flash drive across the table, tucked inside a napkin. I archived everything. Every message, every voice note. He thought he deleted them. He didn't. Miguel pocketed it quietly. You okay? Danielle gave a half smile. Does that even mean anything anymore? Back at the ranger station, Miguel and Dana plugged the drive into the secure terminal. A folder labeled Evan J. Project blinked onto the screen. Josh's alias. Inside 413 chat screenshots, 9 audio files, 3 PDFs of typed guides. A private online forum export titled Pathless Becoming. They opened the first audio file. Josh's voice, low and calm, filtered through the speakers. You're not broken. You're just trapped. What if you didn't need to be fixed, just erased? I'm not asking you to run away. I'm asking you to dissolve. Danielle had dated Josh from 2017 to 2019. She wasn't the only one. The chat logs revealed 7 more. Women over 6 years, each with eerily similar trajectories. Romantic interest, emotional awakenings pushed into solo retreats. Fasts, hikes, contact, slowly severed, social media, goes dark, disappeared, or changed identities. Some of the messages read like poetry. You're not supposed to be safe. You're supposed to be free. Others were surgical in their manipulation. If you can't handle being alone in the forest, you'll never handle being real with yourself. I only love what's wild enough to leave me. But it wasn't just emotional coercion. There were patterns, structure. Each woman had been given a document called the Pathless Journal. A printable guide, Josh claimed, was for introspection. Pages included a list of emotional triggers, a meditation schedule for ego disintegration, a vow of silence, a declaration form titled, My Vanishing Intention. Dana read that line aloud and slammed the desk. Vanishing intention. This isn't therapy. It's an erasure blueprint. Miguel scrolled through the forum export. Dozens of anonymous posts from accounts with names like @Moss-Tongue, @FeralGrace, @UnbornAgain. One thread caught his eye. Title, She Took the Final Step. The post read, She left the phone at the trailhead. Said she didn't want digital ghosts. Last I saw her, she was heading up toward Devil's Shelf, smiling, said, This is it, date stamped, September 4th, 2023. One day before Emily vanished, Emily was part of the group, Miguel said. Dana shook her head. Or she infiltrated. It may be to understand Josh, maybe to warn others. They scanned for IP logs. Some came from Washington, some from Nevada, one from a remote hostel in Wyoming 2 hours from the trailhead. Another, pattern. Every user vanished within 3 months of posting. Danielle had more. She emailed a scanned letter from a woman named Sierra R. Brief relationship with Josh in 2020. After she disconnected, her sister found this on Sierra's nightstand. I'm not gone. I've just stepped out of the version of myself you knew. Please don't try to find my am already where I was meant to be. If you love me, let me vanish. Miguel said, that's word for word from Josh's Guide to Rebirth. Page 6. They cross-referenced Sierra's last known location. Tetons. Same ridge system. No recovery. That made 3 confirmed disappearances. Emily was the 4th. Dana exhaled sharply. He's running a cult. A one-man cult. Miguel nodded. And the ritual isn't worship. It's erasure. They alerted federal investigators. But with no physical evidence of a crime, only manipulations, missing persons, and haunting words, progress stalled. But Miguel wasn't done. He called Danielle. I need one more thing, he said. You said he never hurt you, not physically, but did he ever mark you? Silence. Then you mean like a symbol? Yes. A pause. Check the last image folder. Look for the necklace. Inside were photos of Josh's gifts, handmade jewelry he'd given each woman before their final trip. All of them shared one feature, a spiral etched in metal, subtle, burned into the clasp. Dana ran the symbol through databases. It wasn't religious, not cultural, but it was used in a 2009 criminal investigation in Oregon. Same symbol, same manipulation. Different man, no conviction. Josh didn't invent this, Miguel said. He inherited it. That night, Miguel stared out at the tree line behind the station. A storm brewed on the horizon, bruised purple clouds, wind kicking dust into the air. Somewhere out there, a man was building identities like stone altars, worshipping nothing but the silence left behind when a woman stops existing. Miguel whispered to the trees, Emily, you weren't the first, but maybe you'll be the last. The footage arrived anonymously, shipped in a plain padded envelope, no return address, postmarked from Wyoming. Inside, a USB drive with a single file labeled beholding_001.mov. Miguel didn't open it at the station. He waited until after sunset, alone in the projection room used for educational films, now silent. Echoing, still, the screen flickered to life. A clearing. Wilderness. A bonfire, smoldering beneath a canopy of stars. 7 women sat in a half-circle on moss-covered stones, wrapped in wool shawls, silent, some barefoot, some shaved-headed, all watching one man at the center. Josh Hiss stood barefoot too, wearing a grey tunic and a necklace of river stones, hair longer now, beard thick. He looked like a prophet, and a backpacker had collided at full speed. His voice was soft, measured, hypnotic. The you they want doesn't need to exist. The you they mourn is just residue. That, the real you, is feral. Wordless, she waits inside your fear. The women didn't speak. They stared as if their silence was worship. Miguel hit pause, hands clenched. He scrubbed forward. At timestamp, 0 hours, 9 minutes and 14 seconds. Something shifted. Josh walked toward a small stone altar behind him, makeshift, built from scavenged wood and dried vines, and hanging above it, a collection of items. A journal with a green cover, a scrap of red fabric, a necklace with a chipped turquoise pendant. Emily's necklace. Miguel's stomach dropped. He froze the frame. Zoomed in. There was no mistaking it. It matched the one her sister had. Described the same pendant from the eagle's nest. He wasn't just collecting women. He was collecting proof. Dana arrived minutes later, breathless. He pointed at the screen. He's not hiding, he's preaching. She watched the scene in silence, the fire crackling, Josh pacing. When you remove the name you've been given, you become sovereign. When you vanish, you become real. Dana exhaled slowly. This isn't therapy. This is an ecosystem of control. Miguel nodded. And every ritual ends in erasure. The metadata from the video gave them a hint: GPS coordinates embedded in the file's origin. 43.7782N. 110.6628. W. Unregistered land, no. Roads and no power lines. Just a compound of converted A-frames near the edge of Teton forest. They dispatched federal agents by dawn. Aerial drones revealed 8 small cabins, a central communal structure, and what appeared to be a meditation circle. Built from antlers and stone, the name painted across the gate, the beholding ground. When agents arrived, only 3 women remained. All refused to speak to law enforcement. All claimed to be detoxing from identity. None had ID. Josh was gone. Inside the main cabin, the walls were covered in notes, drawings, Polaroids, each pinned neatly under a label. Before dissolution, after, and on one wall, surrender shelf. That's where they found the necklace. Alongside it, a page torn from a trail map, a hand-drawn spiral. A journal entry in Emily's writing: "This isn't death, this is subtraction. To be unremembered is to be finally known." Dana stared at the page, then whispered, "He made her believe oblivion was freedom." Agents found no evidence of violence. No bodies. No signs of restraint, just intentional disappearance. Somewhere in the compound's files was a list of names coded, aliases tied to arrival dates. Emily's appeared under the name Redroot. Arrival, September 2nd, departure, unknown. The women who stayed behind said Emily left on foot one morning to complete her cycle. That was all they would say. Miguel stood outside the cabin, staring at the jagged line of trees at the horizon. The sky overhead was ash gray. Snow dusted the higher ridges. She walked back into the wild, he muttered. Dana looked over. You think she's still out there? Miguel didn't answer. That night, he rewatched the footage, not Josh. The women. He studied their expressions. Their eyes, none of them looked scared. They looked evacuated, as if belief had drained. Every other thought at 0 hours, 18 minutes and 23 seconds. One woman leaned toward Josh and whispered something. Miguel replayed it. Isolated the audio. Enhanced. She asked too many questions. He wrote the phrase on the whiteboard beside the timeline, underlined it. Then, another phrase beside it. Emily broke the pattern. Back at the station, Dana reviewed satellite data. A single shape caught her eye moving away from the commune days before the raid. A figure, alone, no trail, no direction, vanished into tree cover. Last seen, heading north. Toward the cliffs. Toward Devil's Shelf, Miguel whispered. She didn't dissolve. Dana nodded slowly. She's hunting. She called herself River now, not her birth name, not her legal one. That, she said, had been sacrificed with the others. River was the only woman from the beholding ground willing to talk. She didn't want lawyers, she didn't want attention. She wanted to disappear again, but first. She had to exhale the story from her ribs. They met her in a trauma shelter in Jackson. She wore 3 layers of clothing, all earth tones, like she still needed to blend into trees. She wouldn't sit with her back to the door. Miguel slid a recorder onto the table. She stared at it like it might scream. Tell us about Emily, Dana said gently. River closed her eyes. She didn't belong there, she whispered. None of us did, but she. She never submitted, not fully. River's voice trembled. He couldn't crack her. She said Emily arrived quiet but searching. The others called her Redroot, as instructed. Names weren't allowed until you'd shed your mother's voice from your memory. But Emily kept writing, whispering to herself, pocketing scraps of bark, feathers, bits of glass, little anchors, River called them. She was trying to stay Emily, even while pretending to disappear. Josh noticed he paid her extra attention. More lessons, more silence fasts, one-on-ones. He said she was feral and almost ready, like she was a project. And then the drinks started. Tea, River said, but always just for her. Herbs, he claimed. For clarity, but afterward, Emily would sleep for hours, wake up, panicked, paranoid, shaking. She started mumbling at night, said someone was reading her thoughts. River clenched her fists. She was being broken down. River admitted she wasn't immune. I loved him, or what I thought was love. A small, bitter laugh. Every woman there did, in her own way. That's what made it work. She paused, but Emily, she didn't fall for him, she fell through him, like she saw what was behind the mask, and it terrified her. River began sneaking her food, slipping her clean water, whispering her real name when no one was listening. We were forbidden to talk in private, but I did. I told her, you don't have to vanish. River's eyes glistened. She cried once. Just once. Then came the night. A thunderstorm had rolled in, early cracks of lightning over the ridge, wind slicing through the trees. Everyone was huddled in their cabins, obeying the night of cleansing silence. But Emily, she wasn't in her bed. River ran out barefoot, heart in her throat. Found Emily outside the central hut, staring up at Devil's Shelf, its jagged silhouette lit by flashes of lightning. She had blood on her feet, scratches down her arms, like she'd been preparing for something. I asked her to stay. I begged. River looked straight at Miguel now, and she turned to me and said, you saved the part of me I didn't even know was still there. Now I have to bury the rest. She climbed the rocks, barefoot, vanished into the storm. No one followed. The next morning, Josh said nothing, just announced breakfast and a meditation schedule. He made a fire, played music. No mention of Emily. She became a ghost overnight, River said. No search, no questions, he told us. When the wind takes her, she is no longer ours to mourn. River swallowed. I wanted to die, right then, but she didn't. 3 days later, she faked a seizure. When Josh sent her to the nearby forest shack for rebalancing, she ran 10 miles through the wilderness, barefoot. She'd kept one thing from Emily, a piece of paper she found folded under Emily's mattress. River handed it to Dana now, her fingers shaking. Dana unfolded it slowly. If I vanish, no, it wasn't because I lost myself, it was because I was tired of being hunted. Back at the station, Miguel read the note 3 times, then wrote 3 words on the board. He hunted her. He stared at the case timeline, the gaps, the precision. Josh never used force, never needed to. He dissolved his victims through trust, but Emily had resisted, seen through it. She hadn't disappeared. She'd escaped. River left that night. She didn't say where she was going. She hugged Dana, thanked Miguel for believing her before she left. She said one final thing. Emily was the first woman I loved who didn't need me to rescue her. She just needed me to remember her. In the dead of night, a forest ranger found something high on Devil's Shelf, a circle of stones, a lock of hair tied with bark, and a charred spiral etched into a flat rock. But no body, just that symbol. Again, she's marking him now. Dana whispered. Miguel nodded. She turned the ritual around. The next morning, a new photo appeared online, untraceable, uploaded to a hidden board. A silhouette of a woman in the trees, watching the sunrise from a cliff's edge. Back turned, hair loose, captioned only, I never vanished. You just stopped looking in the right direction. The climb was harder this time, steeper, wetter. The rocks slick with late spring melt. Miguel moved carefully, each bootstep echoing against stone as he neared the cliff edge where, nearly a year ago, a fallen eagle's nest had spilled a bag of human hair, a necklace, and the note that cracked the case open again. Now he was back, alone, no warrant, no team, just intuition, and something else, closure, maybe, or the fear of finding too much. The sun hadn't risen fully yet. The air was cold, thin. From above, the valley looked like a bruise stretching endlessly east. Somewhere below, the commune had been dismantled. The beholding ground, now barren. Josh Miller was still missing. His name a whispered curse on message boards, a ghost in the eyes of his survivors. But Miguel wasn't looking for Josh now. He was looking for her near the base of the dead pine that once held the eagle's nest. Something caught his eye. A scrap of faded green fabric caught between 2 rocks. He froze. It was torn at the edge, stained, but unmistakably nylon. The same shade as Emily's pack. He crouched, pried the stones apart carefully. There, wedged in the narrow crevice, was a bundle, wrapped in waterproof canvas, mold on the edges. Zip-tied shut, Miguel unwrapped it slowly, breath caught in his throat. Inside, a journal, a disposable camera, a thin envelope marked open last. The journal's cover was cracked and curled. The pages were mostly dry. He began to read. Day 1, I am not prey. That's the new rule. He thinks he can dissolve me, but I was already fading before he showed up. This place is full of ghosts pretending they were born this way, but we were all hunted first. I want to go home, but I don't know where that is anymore. The entries were inconsistent, sometimes just lines, sometimes entire pages of looping script. Some were lucid, others spiraled into poetry, fragments, lists, things I remember. My mother's voice saying, come home, when the streetlights turn on. Josh's eyes when he says, you're almost there. The smell of burnt sage and something else beneath it. Teton. A long page written in ink that had bled at the corners. He never touched me. That's the part people will never understand. He didn't have to. He unmade me with words. Every morning I woke up wondering if the dirt in my mouth meant I'd buried myself. Miguel's eyes burned. He turned the page. River was kind, she reminded me I was still someone. That's what scared him. Kindness is louder than control. I think he knew I was going to leave. That's why he kept giving me tea. Day 9. I saw the eagle today. It looked right at me, not as a threat, as a witness. That's when I decided. If I can't live in this world the way I was before, I'll live above it. The final entry was short. I forgive myself. I forgive him. But I will not let him erase me. This is not surrender. This is the loudest scream I know. Miguel closed the journal. Sat still for a long time. The envelope waited in his lap. Opened it. Inside a single photo. Emily, standing barefoot on the cliff. Arms outstretched to the sky. On the back, don't look for me below. I'm not down there. The body was never found. No bones, no blood, no trail. Just pages, words. Proof that she knew everything, and still, she chose her ending. Not as a victim, as an author. Back at the station, Miguel placed the journal in evidence. Though no charges would ever come. No trial, no mugshot. Josh Miller remained a phantom in national databases. A face on missing posters. A myth for internet sleuths to argue over. But Miguel didn't care about the man anymore. He cared about the ones he tried to disappear. He mailed copies of Emily's final pages to River, to Emily's parents, and anonymously to every major podcast, journalist, and blog that had once twisted the story for views. No commentary, just truth. Straight from the source, and over time, something changed. Not loudly, quietly, like sunrise, through smoke. The story stopped being about Josh, and started being about her. Small plaque was placed at the cliff edge, where the fabric was found. No body, just words. In memory of Emily Grayson, who rewrote her ending, where the eagles watch. Sometimes, Miguel returned there. Not to grieve, not to search. Just to listen. To the wind through the pines, to the rustle of feathers overhead, to the silence that finally belonged to her.